From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
It is March 22nd, and on this day in 1963, a lightning bolt hit the heart of the 20th century. The world heard the first full-length statement from a group of 4 lads from Liverpool. Welcome to Deep Dive.
Right, Lila. It is incredible to think that the album Please Please Me, which basically laid the blueprint for modern pop stardom, was born out of sheer necessity and a very long day at the office. The Beatles needed to capitalize on those early singles, and they did it in a way that defied every industry standard of the time.
That marathon session at EMI Studios is the stuff of legend. 10 hours, Daniel. That is all it took to record most of the album. They started at 10 in the morning and just powered through until nearly midnight. Can you imagine the energy in that room? They were essentially playing their live set, but with the pressure of the red light recording everything.
It was raw. Producer George Martin actually considered calling the album off the Beatle track before settling on Please Please Me. When it finally hit shelves on this day in the UK, it was only in mono. The stereo version didn't even arrive until over a month later. But the format didn't matter to the fans. It hit #1 and stayed there for 30 weeks.
Exactly. 30 weeks is an eternity in pop music. It bridged the gap from their early local success in Liverpool to the national obsession that became Beatlemania. The chemistry between John and Paul was already so evident on tracks like Misery and I Saw Her Standing There. It really was the beginning of the British invasion.
Yeah, and while we are talking about massive musical shifts, we have a very rare coincidence to discuss today. March 22nd happens to be the birthday of 2 of the most significant figures in the history of musical theater, though they represent very different ends of the creative spectrum.
You are talking about Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber. It is wild that they share this date. Sondheim, born in 1930, was such a rebel. He took the traditional Broadway musical and turned it into something much more complex and darker with shows like Sweeney Todd and Into the Woods.
That's remarkable. He was an innovator of the highest order. Before he was the master of the modern musical, he was writing lyrics for West Side Story. He changed the artistic ambition of the theater. Then you have Andrew Lloyd Webber, born in 1948, who brought a rock and roll sensibility to the stage with Phantom of the Opera and Jesus Christ Superstar.
No way! Lloyd Webber's work is just so massive in scale. He revitalized the commercial side of theater in both London and New York. Whether you prefer the intricate puzzles of a Sondheim score or the soaring anthems of Lloyd Webber, it is undeniable that the stage wouldn't look the same without them.
Speaking of performers who left a mark, we have to look back even further to 1887. Today is also the birthday of Chico Marx. As the eldest of the Marx Brothers, he was the glue that often held their chaotic comedy together.
I love the Marx Brothers, Daniel. Chico's character was so specific with that fake Italian accent and those incredible piano skills. He would play the piano in this really eccentric finger-pointing style, all while delivering these deadpan lines that were just pure nonsense.
Definitely. He was often the one who negotiated the deals for the troupe behind the scenes, but on screen, in films like Duck Soup and A Night at the Opera, he was the perfect comedic foil. He kept audiences laughing during a time when the world really needed a distraction.
It is a day of heavy hitters in entertainment. But there is also a very serious global observance happening today that feels increasingly urgent as our cities grow.
That would be World Water Day. It was established by the United Nations General Assembly back in 1992, following a major conference in Rio de Janeiro. The first one was observed on March 22, 1993.
It is easy for us to take for granted when we turn on a faucet, but the stats are actually pretty staggering. The UN uses this day to remind us that about 2.2 billion people still don't have access to safely managed drinking water. That is a massive percentage of the human population.
Exactly, Lila. From an urban policy perspective, it is one of our greatest challenges. Every year there is a different theme to focus on things like groundwater or the link between water and climate change. It is about advocating for the sustainable management of freshwater resources before it's too late.
It is a powerful reminder that while we celebrate the art and culture that makes life beautiful, there are fundamental needs that still require our collective attention. From the first chords of a Beatles record to the vital importance of clean water, March 22nd covers a lot of ground.
It certainly does. Thank you for joining us for this look at the stories that shaped our world. I am Daniel Brooks.
And I am Leela Mercer. Visit deepdive.neuralnewscast.com for more historical insights. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.